talk fishing and cancer awareness, testicular cancer, and talking about the Casting for Cancer tournament coming up this Saturday.
Correct.
Yes, September 4th. So y'all fast forward on, we'll give a few folks, and I'm going to jump on Facebook and share it up. So if you guys wouldn't mind, if you're watching it now, hit that share button. So y'all talk amongst yourselves. Let me jump on Facebook real quick.
Smash the button.
Smash
That button, as all the young kids say these days. So how many years, Doc, have you been doing this?
This is our 9th year, believe it or not. Ninth year doing Casting for Cancer. It's kind of morphed into a much larger tournament than we initially had, but excited about it once again. It's always Labor Day Saturday, which is a busy Saturday, but the city was nice enough to kind of give that to us, that we can do one of the largest charity bass tournaments now in the state. So it's been a great thing, and being the 9th year in a row that we put it on, we're looking for another turnout.
To me, doctor is like a pastor, like law enforcement. It's a calling.
Mm-hmm.
When did you know you wanted to be a doctor, and then what made you choose to go into the field of urology?
No, that's a great question there. Well, it's kind of a long story. I'll kind of make short. My parents were of the idea that if you start young with your children and kind of coerce them in a nice way, not to push, that you would follow that expectation. So I have 2 older brothers. The oldest one's a dentist, and I can remember when he was 3 or 4 years old, my mother saying, well, go to him. If you have a toothache, he'll take care of it at 3 or 4 or 5 years old. So my brother always pretended to be a dentist growing up, and that's what he is. And when the airplane flew over, she would say, look, there's Andy, my middle brother. And he is a captain of a 777. He's a pilot now. And I was the one, if anybody got hurt, he said, go to young Johnny, he'll fix you up. And we just played doctor. So I was started at a young age, is all I ever knew, you know. So we came from a different family. Not everybody does that, and I'm not sure if that's the best way to do it. But so I always knew I wanted to go in the medical profession. Urology was interesting. I started in college, actually, in cardiovascular surgery. That's what I was going to do. And actually had an opportunity to work as a PA through college to take the saphenous vein from the leg and open heart surgery. I did it for 4 years before medical school. And had a kidney stone during surgery one time, and that kidney stone changed my life. So it was very rough, and I met the urologist, and a long story short, rounded with him one time and changed my career path and became a urologist and never looked back. So I've enjoyed urology and in what it brings, and actually urology is kind of its own little profession. There's not many of us running around, but I was glad I made the change and been here in Gadsden practicing for 21 years now.
Wow.
So you got this guy that has this honorable profession that he changed his medical path. And I have a similar story. I was a PE major, and when I realized that coaches had to teach, I didn't want to do that. So I figured out the next major that could get me out of there, and I work in bass fishing. So
there you go.
Yeah, yours is honorable and mine's play.
But everybody's got to have fun, right? There's no fun. You got to have a relief mechanism to get out there. So how long have you been into fishing?
Well, I have enjoyed fishing all my life. That's kind of what I do outside of practice medicine.
Good thing your mama didn't tell you to go catch fish.
Oh, I know. I'd probably be on the tour right now, not making no money and working all night long.
Or making all the money like some of them.
Some of them do. The elite do. You're right. But got into fishing, I guess, when I was a young boy. Enjoy fishing. Have 2 boys, and that got me more energized towards fishing. And what we needed in this community was to help out certain charities. Right. And they came to me and asked if I had any ideas. And I said, I don't really do anything but medicine fish, but we can start a fish turn for charity. And we got the nonprofit together, nonprofit organization, and it's grown. It's grown by leaps and bounds. It's been very nice.
So Man Up Gadsden is the nonprofit portion, correct?
The nonprofit organization named Man Up, correct. There's three charity events that support Man Up.
Okay. So the fishing tournament, well, and just Man Up Gadsden in general. How does that work? The money is raised, it goes into Man Up Gadsden, and then people come to them for...
Correct. Man Up is really... it's really a nonprofit organization, and we're dedicated to the education, prevention, and support of men's health issues. So it came about seeing the wonderful job women have done about supporting their causes, women causes, from breast cancer all the way down. I mean,
They got a whole month.
they're unbelievable. I mean, but what do guys do? We stick our head in the sand and run, you know. And so, being the only urology group in Northeast Alabama, we had to do something. We felt obligated and responsible to the men of not only this community, really of all of Northeast Alabama, to get the word out, not only to the young men, but also the older men, and tell them, hey, you have to do certain things for your own health if you want to be a good father, good husband, good grandfather. And so Man Up came of that. Actually, I got smart. I knew I couldn't do it myself, so I went to the women who were putting together the women's health organization and stayed on them and stayed on them. Finally, they caved, and now they're the ones helping me out. And so, and they've done a fantastic job. You know, I get the word out because being in men's health, and that's what I do for a living. But you know, behind the scenes, all the registration forms and the tag, the shower cards, everything, they do a wonderful job.
Yeah. I'll make a pitch. Go check out Man Up Gadsden on Facebook, and then there is an event on Facebook for the Casting for Cancer, and of course, so folks can still sign up, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Plenty of room.
Plenty of room. We don't cut it off. It's a charity event. We want everybody, from the best of the best to some guy in a John boat. We'll take them, and you can sign up. Really, the easiest way to do now, if you want a T-shirt. Probably the quickest way, if you can print off a registration form on the internet and just bring it by my office at Clinical Urology. That's one way. You can still mail it in.
That's over by Gadsden Regional.
Gadsden Regional. Yes, I'm sorry. Right on the way to Gadsden Regional, 713 Goodyear Avenue. It's probably the best way. You can sign up that morning. There's no problem with that. We will not turn you away.
Yeah. So with that, Dan, what do you think the impact of this hurricane rolling through is going to be on the fishing this weekend?
By Saturday, if there's water still flowing, it should be pretty good. I was out yesterday and today this morning. My friend, I'm actually fishing the tournament. Now,
okay, so don't give away too many secrets.
Whatever. I work in fishing, and the way that I've proven is if you don't really want people to know what you're doing, tell them the truth because they all think you're lying anyway. My friend is coming from Tennessee to fish with me, and he was down here. He couldn't come Saturday. It was his dad's birthday, and anyway, so we went out and played. It's tough. I'll be honest with you, it's tough. There's a lot of tiny bait up in the water, and it makes it interesting because there's a lot to do, and we even got into one boil, and they were white bass and striper that were going crazy, and we couldn't get them to look at anything that we threw. We finally got them to eat a little Rico topwater bait kind of thing, but if the hurricane comes through and it puts water into the system and the water starts to run, I think the fishing will get better because you'll just have current, and that shallow bite will get picked up a little bit, I think. But I remember Lee Pitts. He won an Alabama Bass Trail event a few years ago, and it had been tough, and we got a bunch of rain on Friday during practice. And he went out and put 23 pounds on the scales with his partner on Saturday, and it had been tough. People were whining, and it took 23 pounds to win, and it took 15 to get a check, and people were like, whoa. So that's what happens on this river with that. But, you've been a longtime customer of Bucks Island, and everybody over there loves you, not just because you bought a boat, but because of just what you do in the community, or if you bought a couple by now. Yeah. Bucks is really proud to be associated with something like this, and especially now with Tony and his battle with cancer, and he's doing really well. But everybody, to be a part of this kind of thing, and we put our Bucks cash behind it. We get it sanctioned for real money. We wanted to try to do Skeeter beans, but Yamaha and Skeeter are still a little kind of travel restrictive right now on a few things, but. We're proud to be a part of it. I know I'm proud to be able to be there and be a part of it and be just a part of whatever little help we can offer. And I know Michael feels the same way. So, anything that we can do to help the community and bring more attention to not only what you're doing, but also to our city and our fishery is also really cool.
Well, that's awful nice of you. And Bucks has been great. I mean, there's no question that there's certain sponsors I have that Bucks is one of my favorite. You're right. I've been a customer for a while just because they're good to me, and I like Skeeter boats.
We like that you like Skeeter boats.
Yes, that's right. Well, and my
We know
son
your boys
does.
do.
That's right. I buy one and I see it for a week.
Well, just don't forget we got the tackle too. So
That's right. That's right. Yes.
Yeah, lots of excuses to come in. So, all right. Well, guys, if y'all have got any questions, so I guess we should have said at the beginning we were planning on going on the water.
Yeah,
this is far less exciting than being out there. Although we came in because we're a little afraid of it being a little too exciting with the weather rolling in. We've been keeping an eye on the rain coming and going, and as you put it, Dano, lightning and fishing rods don't mix too well.
No, they don't. I've seen them explode.
Oh, goodness.
They have. They turn into little shredded. You're holding something that looks like baby's breath in the air. I've seen it happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely we want to promote up casting for cancer, but maybe not worth getting out on the boat in the lightning. Although we probably could have gotten a viral video out of that, right?
Yes, we could have. Well, I'll put it to you this way: having been around this so long, been on the water, you don't want to be holding cameras, and you don't want to be holding a fishing rod when the lightning comes around.
There you go.
When you make a cast and you watch that line stay in the air as the baits hit the water and the line is still hovering,
good.
Drop your fishing rod.
Yes.
I've seen it happen way too many times.
Wow.
I actually watched a pro angler one time make a cast and the line staying like that, and he goes, "Should that happen?" I said, "Drop your rod, drop your rod." "What? Drop your rod." He was about to get popped. And he didn't know it.
Oh, goodness.
Yikes.
So I'm the one that made the ultimate, and we're going to put the boat on the water. And
But one of these days, we got to get you out on your
Oh, I'd love
skeeter
to.
and go.
Yeah, I'd love
A lot of people, they get a little
he doesn't have his
antsy.
skeeter. It's JP's skeeter.
Yeah.
He goes everywhere with him.
Gotcha. Well, hey, I would say we get you another one, but it actually take us about 4 or 5 months, I think, at this
Or
point.
longer.
Yeah, or longer. Yeah, it's nuts. Every time we talk about boat sales, I think we're up to about 32, 33 boats for 2022 that are already pre-sold before they're
just skeeters.
just skeeters.
Yeah.
And we have bass cats and falcons that are both sold too. And then the pontoon boats are just
It's
Who
absolutely.
saw it coming? It's a virus hits, puts everybody in a pandemic, and everybody's just buying boats and campers. And
I think if you'd come last March, if you'd come over last March, you probably would have gotten a really good deal on a boat because we were sitting on a lot of inventory. And then by the middle of May, we were gone down to like 7 pontoons, and then we've been out of pontoons literally for the last 7-8 months.
Well, it was bad enough that we had ads that were scheduled, Facebook ads that were scheduled, and Michael's really good at this. Had them scheduled out, and an ad would go up, and it would say, "Largest inventory in Northeast Alabama," and you'd get a comment from somebody that said, "Bad time to have big inventory." Another comment, a guy go, "How dare you ask people to buy a big ticket item during a pandemic and a recession coming and all this stuff?" And so that's when Michael and myself and Mary, we had a huddle and we talked about what do we do with social media, because if we shut it down, because she was like, we need to stop. And we came up with, the three of us discussion came up with our Bucks Live shows.
Yeah.
And some more entertainment type stuff, and that's really been good for us, and that's why we got you sitting last year with us, because it was just something to do, and it really has been community building and help us be involved more and stuff like this.
Right.
All right. So speaking of from the lives, John Cox, one of our pro staffers, he's asking, what are the tournament details, time, ramp?
Absolutely. Well, it's this Saturday. We're going to blast off at Safe Light, which is looking a little before 6 a.m. Weigh-ins are at 3. Coosa Landing. It's been at Coosa Landing. We'll have a nice, the truck comes in with the stage. It's the same, similar as last year. And what we do ask that when you come in to come get your boat numbers, if you've already signed up, If you haven't signed up, you can sign up under the Broad Street Bridge. You'll see all the ladies sitting there by the tables. And get your boat numbers and get back in line. We'll check your live wells and get you in the water.
It's total fee for everything in. You got big bass is $20. Small bass is a $10 option, and then it's a $150 entry fee. So it's $180 all in. I learned a long time ago, you get in all the options because you never know when you're going to get stupid and win. I gave up more money than I won and finished in second place in a tournament by not being in the options.
Yeah, so big bass is $1,000. And interesting enough, several years ago, Gadsden Eye Associates, Dr. Catanzaro came up with this idea of how about giving $500 for the smallest bass? And I was against it at first. I said, you can't legitimately do that at a bass tournament.
I would have won that.
And he said, well, you're not getting my $500 in. And I said, okay, I'll make a category. So, and so for $500, and it has to be a 12-inch bass, and it has to be a bass. But that has been the most fun category of all of them, because the ones that complain the most before the tournament, no lie, are the ones that are fighting at the end to win that $500.
Well, yeah. I'll give you another one to throw in there.
What's that?
The biggest non-bass species.
Oh, goodness. We'll have some big catfish coming.
Yeah, you get some, they can bring in.
I have to weigh in that nasty big catfish.
You don't have to. You just get to stand there and MC.
Yeah, I know, but that big catfish. Other than catfish, maybe striped bass. But we're looking forward to it. Like I said, it's this Saturday. You can get it on, let's see, it's manupgadsden.com. You can go to Casting for Cancer on Facebook. You can call 256-413-3215. Those are what's on the signs we have across town. Any of those places, they'll kind of give you directions on how to get the registration in. And our T-shirts this year, my wife is nice enough to design our T-shirts. Look really good. They're red instead of, we usually go blue, but they're red this year, and they look very nice. She did a good job.
All right, and I just dropped in the comments a link to the Facebook event, and it's at Man Up Gadsden on Facebook, and I think you're actually on Instagram if you're over there. So give them, and I assume obviously Man Up Gadsden accepts donations year round.
Oh, yeah,
to support the work you guys are doing.
And we have the 3 fundraisers. The Blue Ball, which is actually up for the best event in Gadsden this year, right outside the studio. They actually.
John Cox, you've got to come to the Blue Ball. I mean, come on.
So
I didn't say it.
Yes. The Blue Ball is actually a very good event that we have. They rope off a part of the street here in downtown Gadsden. That's our first event, the Bass Tournament Casting for Cancer, which is this Saturday. And we have a 5K run called Dash for the Stash, which is out of Blackstone, right in front of Blackstone. It starts there. And that is the first Saturday of November.
I'm all over that one.
Those are our 3
Does K stand for kill? Because that's what will happen if I entered that.
Nice.
Kill myself.
So I got a question back to the smallest fish category. Yes. Uh-huh. What is a good technique to catch the smallest?
Small bait.
Small
hooks and Ned rig.
Ned rig.
Yes.
In fact,
shaky head, fab rig, something small.
Yeah, but go with like a 3-inch little doodle worm or something kind of deal. Yeah,
that's $500 on that small fish. Last year was 0.65 pounds
for a 12-inch fish.
Mm-hmm. Half pound.
Now, see, I've seen tournaments. Smith Lake, they have it's the slot. Right. It's a slot limit.
Mm-hmm.
They can weigh in under the slot during an Alabama Bass Trail event, and they use those cages in a water weigh-in. Mm-hmm. And they've had guys lose fish that swam through the square.
That's almost embarrassing.
And they had to go get a net to bring their fish back in.
That's funny.
I don't know. Can you get a fish to throw up its lunch and get its weight down? I don't know. Is that a
Usually if you can. It's difficult to do, though.
Usually when guys cheat, they're trying to add weight.
They're putting weights
eat this tungsten.
That's right.
I need it back, though. It's too expensive.
Gag them, right?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
0.6?
0.65, yes.
Holy cow, that's a tiny fish. Mm-hmm. And it was 12 inches long.
12 inches. Oh, yeah, we measure. It's a hot category because people are always looking, wanting to make sure that's weighed in correctly.
How?
That's $500 fish.
No,
$500 rat.
That's right. Little bitty fish.
Leave it to a Marine John, asking, do we have to bend over and cough at registration? We knew it was coming.
No, but if you're over 50, you need to do that anyway and come by the office.
Yeah.
But that's only at the office.
It's a great segue.
They do have a tent for you, John.
We won't be doing
You'll
prostate
be standing there by
exams at the
yourself.
thing. Though I will be trying to get the word out, over 50, a blood test called a PSA and a rectal exam every year after 50 is a must.
He's got to bring me down. I just turned 51.
There you go.
Yeah.
His appointment's tomorrow.
Love you, Doc, but
You don't like me that much.
I think I knew you a little bit too well to be walking around you going, hey, how you go?
I would like to say, this is interesting, though, because of COVID last year, things kind of shut down, though we didn't shut our office. The world shut down. And so people didn't come as much for preventative care. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we're seeing more and more aggressive disease now. And so it just goes to show, hey, these measures do work. These preventative measures, whether it's a mammogram or a blood test PSA and a rectal exam, these things do work. Because the worst thing is when somebody you see them 2 years ago and their blood test is normal and now it's tripled because they missed last year. Now I'm seeing them and I could have saved you when it was here. Now it's a lot more difficult. So unfortunately, there's 6 of us, urologists, and we're seeing that more and more. And we say, here's another one. I mean, you hear that almost every day in my office. Wish we could have kept it going. So the preventive measures, no question.
Gotcha.
And, even with the young men through Man Up who make these cards, and I was going to show folks these cards. If you don't know, the parents out there, we're able to go to really all the high schools in Etowah County and really in the surrounding counties where we talk to the young men about testicular cancer. The number one cancer of young men between age 15 and 35 is testicular cancer.
Did you know that?
No?
Which
I didn't
interesting.
either. I didn't know it was that
It's
young.
also the fastest growing cancer. So if you catch it early, it's one of the most curable cancers. So there's certain things that's good to know about testicular cancers. Number one in young men, 15 to 35. I don't diagnose testicular cancer. That's the interesting. The young men have to. If they're not doing their own exams, they're going to let it go too long, and it's an embarrassing part of their body.
Right.
They don't want to tell their parents. That's what we're trying to get the word out to them. They have to do these self-exams. That's why these are laminated shower cards. They go in the shower once a month. They check their testicles. Shows them how to do it. If there's some abnormality that doesn't feel right, go to their pediatrician. By the time they get to me, we got to move on, because the story in my world is you don't let the sun set on a testicular mass. In other words, it grows that fast.
Wow.
So, but on the good news is it's extremely curable.
Do we have any ideas on why it's growing, like why it's becoming more prevalent?
We don't. There's a lot of theory and there's a lot of studies being done now. Is it the pollutants in the air? Is it the stuff we're eating? But it's definitely more. So every hour, here's some stats you'll like to say that we use all the time. Every hour of every day, another young man is diagnosed with testicular cancer. And every day in the United States, another young man dies of testicular cancer, which should never happen. It has a 95% plus cure rate if caught early enough. Wow. And so we're talking one of the best cures, stories in all of cancer is testicular cancer. And if you bear with me, I can tell you a great story. Lance Armstrong, everybody knows the great bicyclist, the Tour de France winner 6 times. 7 times, there you go. So he had testicular cancer somewhere in the middle there.
Before his first one.
Okay, and so his idea was, this is the great thing about medicine, how we're fluid, we'll listen. Not to get too technical, but there's a thing called BEP, bleomycin, etoposide, and platinum. That's the chemotherapy for testicular cancer, right? One of them, the etoposide, the bleomycin, the B part of it, will cause scarring of your lungs. So if he took that, he wouldn't be able to ride his bike anymore. So he said, forget the B part. I just want the EP. The oncologist said, look, you're eat up with testicular cancer. I mean, from his brain all the way down, it was spread everywhere.
Wow.
His life expectancy was not even good, more or less, ever getting on a bicycle. He said, you have to have the B part. He said, I don't care. You're not going to give me the B part. I just want the EP, etoposide and platinum. They said, okay. He did his rounds of EP, and it cured him. And then he goes on to win all the Tour de France. So now the standard of care is EP. He changed the way we did medicine, a bicyclist. How about that?
Wow.
Yeah. Good
He
story.
changed the way they train for bicycling too.
Yeah, he changed a lot of stuff. I mean, he's an interesting character that has done a lot of good. And I know you can argue about the doping part, but he did a lot of good as well.
I played baseball through my life, and you get to the spot where something like that, is it a letdown to see somebody that everybody's a hero, that is a hero for everybody, and most people look up to see the crash or the come down of all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But you look at the era of when I was really following baseball, there wasn't one of those guys that wasn't on the juice. So why are we all judging them as terrible people when everybody knows anyway?
Yeah,
everybody knew what was going on, and everybody in that sport was doping too. So it was, is it a disappointment? Yes, but
well, it's definitely the pressure on where we're pushing the limits of human capability, particularly when you're talking, well, I mean, baseball, riding bikes, all that kind of stuff. It's definitely putting a lot of pressure on a lot of folks to really push the limits on what they're doing. I mean, it's pretty impressive to see. I get exhausted just thinking about riding a bike through the mountains in France, much less the rate, the speeds, and the way they're doing. So,
question for you on
Sure.
What kind of things do you see contribute to, like treatments or procedures or things in the past that a guy's had that may contribute to more illnesses, more urological things like vasectomies and other things? Do those have any other?
No, there's a lot of wives' tales. And gosh, ever since COVID hit, you wouldn't believe the number. The internet, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I think Google and everything. Well, it gives you some sense of knowledge when you're coming and sitting with me. We can kind of have a discussion. Unfortunately, now it's gone too extreme. So when you say the vasectomy thing, I love that. That was a Swedish, I don't even know if it was a researcher, just came out bluntly and just said, just random, said vasectomies cause prostate cancer. No, they don't. They never have, never will, never has anything to do with it. But I discuss that every time. Well, I'm going to get prostate cancer if I get a vasectomy. Has nothing to do with prostate. Okay, so two different issues there. They never could cause prostate cancer, never has. So that's one of those urban legends that you hear and you have to dispel because you see them all the time. Almost every business has that, but it's gotten difficult in medicine to try to convince someone when they've just saw it on, now that we're on the internet right now, but now they just saw a video on the internet and they just take it for gospel. It's like, well, there's more to that story.
Yeah. Well, and I bring that up because that's the kind of stuff that Man Up Gadsden helps.
Yes, that's the education part, right?
And that's why I mean, I bring up a topic to kind of get, but that's what Man Up Gadsden's about.
And once again, just to give kudos to the young men of this community. I mean, I didn't know what to think 3 years ago when I started going around to high schools and talk to the young men. This is a sensitive subject. There's no question. We're talking about young men's testicles, right? Had no idea what to expect. Thought there'd be giggling.
Yeah, we can't even say it without giggling.
Right.
I mean,
and that's what I expected. That's what I expected. And so at the first high school I went to, I'll leave nameless. The coaches lined the gym. I had all the young men up there, no women in the room. So they would ask questions. I know what to expect, and I was waiting for the giggling. It didn't happen. The questions were very thoughtful. Very, interesting enough, the coaches were kind of snickering around me. They were standing around, and some of the coaches were saying, "Wait a second, what?" As men, we were never taught this. I mean, this is news to y'all, correct?
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, "Now, how do you do that?" Even the coaches wanted to know. Yeah, we were never taught this, and they were getting on to the boys. Listen, because this is something that really could save lives. And when I'm like at Gadsden City, 720 young men in front of me. There's a good significant portion of those that are going to get testicular cancer just by sheer numbers, right? And so, I'm telling them, listen, and the questions were excellent. It kind of morphs into, from that intimacy questions. Mm-hmm. Some of them don't have fathers in the home. Some of them have a lot of questions too embarrassed to ask their parents. Hey, they just lay it out. It was wonderful. The first time I went to the big school like Gadsden City, the questions were, I have an hour slot at their assembly. It was 2 hours later. I'm still answering questions. And the coaches said, just keep going. Even the principal's like, keep going. This is more informative than the class they're about to go to. And so we really had a great time. And we had a great time. I mean, it was good because the questions were, they were really really good,
good
questions about not just testicular cancer. Testosterone's big. They want to know about testosterone. They want the big biceps. And I explain to them what's going on in their bodies and what testosterone is. It's not this guy in the gym that's holding a bottle. That's not what we're talking about. We get into the important things, or what that could do to you if you did go that direction. Things of that nature. So we open up the floor and hey, let us have it. You have our attention, and they do. They've used it. Every one of the high schools.
That's pretty cool.
Very cool. Well, so while we're talking about cancer in general, you and I had a conversation early on with this whole render implant thing here in Etowah County about just kind of general conditions. And you mind taking a second and just talking about just kind of cancer in general and the environment around here and what our numbers are like in Etowah County?
Right. Well, there's two parts to that. They're two-part answer. Number one, I'll keep it professional. The professional answer is there's no question. Any kind of carcinogen that you're going to see in a plant of that nature, not only in the water, but also in the air. I see bladder cancer constantly, so moving from Memphis down to North Alabama and seeing a Goodyear plant, the first thing I'm thinking of, rubber tiles, definitely a carcinogen on the bladder. The bladder is very sensitive to tobacco smoke, the number one cause, because everybody worries about your lungs when you smoke. But remember, all that tar and nicotine has to leave your body by way of your bladder. So it just sits in your bladder till you urinate it out. And so all those cause bladder cancer. Well, so do carcinogens that we eat and drink. Painters, all the smells they take. So we see it in the Goodyear plant. First thing I heard about rendering plant going, here we go. Our bladder cancer numbers are going to go up again. So we knew we were going to see a tick in that just from not only the pollutants in the air, but in the water. There's no question about bladder cancer, just what I do.
Right.
The pulmonologist will tell you, we're sitting there fighting COVID. We're sitting there fighting all these respiratory illnesses, and you're going to do that to this area?
Right.
Really? And so that's my concern on a professional standpoint.
Right.
We don't need that. We just don't. We have enough to deal with as far as the medical community here. Though it's a small town, when I moved here 20-something years ago, the average town this size, average city of Gadsden size, would have about 60 physicians on staff at the hospital. 60.
Yeah.
We have 251. A lot of medical community here, a large medical community here, which very intrigued me at the time. I said, why? Well, when you get to know the expertise we have in this city, it's very impressive, consider the size. And that's what, when we recruiting just urologists here, they're very surprised about the number of urologists in the town. We're supposed to have 3, we have 6. See what I mean? And so we're a very good, in-tuned medical community. There's no question. So on a personal note, we're better than that. We're better than rendering plant, just my own personal opinion.
Right.
We can do better. Hopefully the people in power will see this. We don't need the 90 jobs it's going to bring in that facility. Hey, we all need jobs, no question. Goodyear plant went down. My business is just like every business needs customers. There's no question. And so we could do a better way of doing it. There's no question. And I've loved seeing the backing that Advanced Etowah has. I'm just so impressed with that.
Well, and one interesting thing, and then we can talk some fishing. We got one question in here, but jobs, and while we got, obviously all the fishermen out there, we got a lot of the high school anglers and all that kind of stuff that are paying attention, that are fishing these tournaments and all that kind of stuff. I didn't realize the opportunities that you have in the medical field around here at the hospital. I mean, starting from basically no education. Can you share a little bit about what those opportunities are around here?
I didn't say it, but I'm the chief medical officer over at Gadsden Regional, so I see these numbers. And nursing, God love them, the nursing field has been devastated, but from COVID, and my numbers may be a day or so off, but we're looking at needing 40 to 50 nurses at Gadsden Regional and about 30 to 40 at Riverview. Just our 2 hospitals are in dire need of nursing. Everything from an RN, LPN to a medical tech, the jobs are there. There's no question. There's nobody, if you want to get in the medical field from a high school education, really, GED, all the way up to advanced nursing degree, there's jobs. And it literally is just walking in and signing up, because it's that desperate need right at this moment. In really in the near future too. Yeah.
So if you got kids wandering around looking for something to do, that's certainly great. I honestly, maybe I just never thought about it. My kids haven't gotten to that age yet, but yeah, I didn't realize you basically just start with the local hospitals, and they'll help pay for all the education and all that stuff.
There's scholarships. It's great that we have so many nursing schools around Gadsden State, Jack State, Wallace, Sneed, that if you'll have to come back and work for pay at these hospitals, but they'll pay for your school. I mean, but medicine's bigger than nursing and physicians. I mean, you have respiratory therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy, home health. The avenues are really endless in medicine right now, and it's a secure job. I haven't looked back. I enjoy every day I do it, and I'm blessed that I'm able to do it.
All right. Well, Teresa asks, how do we get a Blue Rally at our school? Is it at Etowah County Schools?
Absolutely. At Etowah County High School?
Yeah.
Actually had the chance to go to Etowah. With COVID last year, I apologize to everybody. I wasn't able to get there last year. I'm going to start, I believe, Hoax Bluff and Glencoe are at the end of September. I'm going to move on into October. I'd love to go to Etowah, Gadsden City, Westbrook, Coosa Christian, Southside. We move on to West End, Sardis. And I kind of take care of the Etowah first, and then Springville's already called, and we'll probably go to Boaz, Albertville, Gunnersville, move up that way, Fort Payne, Fife. Those are high schools that already contact us that, if you have students that'll listen, I'll definitely talk. How about that?
All right. Well, that was the one question. I don't know. Fishing?
So 9 years I've been doing this tournament.
This is our 9th year. Right. And so next year we're going to have to come up with some great 10th year anniversary of where we're trying to think of, we can always increase how much we give out, but we're taking ideas of how we can do next year. This year's number 9. It started 9 years ago. Me and my wife and my oldest son, it was kind of sad, I'll be honest. We went to Coosa Landing, and I think there were 17 boats, and didn't know what I was doing, and I forgot the scales and had to have somebody bring some scales in, and we were new. And from that, in 2013, I think it was the first one, we've grown to having a big stage and a lot of support, unbelievable support from all our sponsors. It's really been wonderful to watch.
I know it's probably hard to do, but what are a couple of your favorite stories about the event itself? Father-son or whatever, some kind of memorable thing, and it's hard to say favorite, but some of those things that are memorable.
I always go back to the cancer thing, why they do it. It's never fails. When I'm jumping in boats at 4:30 in the morning checking live wells, and I do it. I want to. And most of them are saying, you're a physician, you're jumping in my boat. I said, sure. This is what I love doing, and I do it with a friend of mine, Jamie Hardy, who's been there with me the whole time. Whose mother, he won't mind me mention this, whose mother passed away of bladder cancer. That's his connection to this, and not everybody, majority of people have a connection, have a cancer story, and when those are coming through the line, they're going to share it with me, and I stop, and we stop the line. I want to hear it. And so everything from these cards, I can tell you, of course, I'm not going to use names or give away anything, but a young man in our community, his friend had one of these cards, right? And he was a freshman in college. His friend was a senior in high school and just got it, and it was on his friend's desk. And the young man came and was reading it and told his buddy, who was a year younger, said, "Where'd you get this?" And he said, "I don't know. Some guy came to the high school and gave it to me." And he goes, "I got this." And he actually played a sport, I'll leave nameless, and was a star on that team as a freshman at this community college. And he showed up, and he came in with a card. And I said, "You're in college. How'd you get this?" And he said, "My friend's still in high school." He said, "I got this." And I said, "You sure?" And I asked his mom to leave. I checked him out. He did, and it was spread. And so he went through his 4 rounds of chemotherapy. He's alive today. Unfortunately, he's not playing sports, but this card saved his life, I can tell you. That was one of them. He fished in our tournament. That was one of them. There's so many stories about sons and their fathers. The father has his father has prostate cancer. They come in and they want to fish with their dad. Like, hey, he got treated at such and such place, whether it's our place or somewhere else, doesn't matter. And his PSA saved his life. And I'm doing it for that. And it's we expect anywhere 75 to 100 boats, and almost more than half will have a story as they're coming through. Some they keep private, but a lot of them will tell the story.
Well, I've been fortunate that I'm in a family that doesn't have a lot of health issues, it seems, both my wife's side and my side. And I do this because I care about our community, but I like getting behind people that give back a lot, and Bucks Island has been a part of that.
Oh yes.
And personally, you see a lot of people give of themselves, and
what's good, all this money, every penny that's made through this or any of the fundraiser, 100% goes and stays in Northeast Alabama. Something I like to get out there, and this isn't against anything against American Cancer Society. They do a great job. They're just not in tune in Northeast Alabama, because years ago there was an issue that came up at one of the hospitals that we needed some money to take care of some preventative care measures for some indigent patients. And the American Cancer Society, and they can look it up, it's true, they didn't have money for Northeast Alabama. And so this got me interested. What do you mean? I mean, we do fundraisers just like everybody else does. And so this kind of changed into, let's take care of our own. Because, if you don't take care of your own, you can't take care of anybody else. So 100% of this money stays right here in Northeast Alabama. We take care of everything from buying new tires for somebody going to radiation therapy, air conditioner, or utility costs for people having hot flashes from hormone therapy. So there's not a huge board. We don't sit around and vote on what to get. If something sounds right, we just do it. That's what I like about it. There's not all this red tape. There's zero red tape, to be honest with you. And so that's what keeps it local. It keeps it alive and keeps it going. So that's what the fundraiser, and 100% goes. There's no administrative cost.
We'll be. We're expecting to be there with the service trailer for anybody that needs it. I'll be there fishing it and hanging out. If Michael's got time away from all the other battles he's got, he'll come over and.
Yeah, I haven't thought past tomorrow yet, so I'm not sure what. I'm may come check it out. I don't know. Maybe we can do a live from down there. Weigh in or something like that. So. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I have to check with the wife on the schedule on Saturday afternoon, though.
Well, luckily it's supposed to be good
She'll
weather.
Probably be busy posting memes. That's okay.
Yeah. Well, it's soccer season and all that kind of good stuff. But definitely need to get the photos and stuff. And
so we do at weigh-ins. Actually, we have the bleachers set up, so we do like people just come watch weigh-ins. I mean, we're giving a lot. Team One Toyota has been fantastic, and for some reason, people love the Toyota hats. So we give out a lot of gifts that we give from everybody around town. We're donating like door prizes, a little handout.
I think Toyota plays a pretty decent role in paying out some pretty good money around the country.
They're big in all kinds of bass fishing. That's right.
Cool. Well, I'm kind of running out of stuff to talk about, unless we want to actually talk about fishing. Haven't hit that too hard, but I think.
What's your favorite technique? Since you like to fish.
Well, around here we're flipping grass. That's what we do. And so I've gotten so used to that. I grew up around the Pickwick area out of Memphis, and so it's deep water, ledge fishing there. But here we're shallow water fishermen, and when you go with two boys, if anybody they usually do what they want to do. So my oldest son, that's what we usually do. We're staying in the grass, and we're channel. If you see any channel grass, we're going to be on it. That's deep channel grass.
So if I would have got him in the boat today and put a spinning rod in his hands, he probably would have gone, what?
I've used them, but usually it's a bait caster.
Well, fun. Well, thanks for joining us. I hate that we couldn't get out on the water. Honestly, I've been stuck in the studio all day working on other stuff, and I was kind of looking forward to getting out there. So we need to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, we should do that just with you.
I'd love to. And we can always do it some other time.
It's fun. It's fun for everybody to make fun of Dano. So
they try. I'm an easy target.
No, we have a good time. It's a lot of people. They sweat. Well, if I don't catch anything,
I'm
the
fun. First one to blank on a live, so it counts.
Everybody will learn a little something.
Well, if you fish, you realize it's fishing, not catching, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see in the same episode. I blanked, and Michael made me cry on camera. So.
Oh goodness!
It's the risk you take. You subject yourself to the hot seat. No. Well, good luck, nonetheless, on Saturday. If you got any tips on catching them on Saturday, go ahead and drop them in the comments, and everybody else can not pay attention to them because I'm sure they're lies, right? We probably need to get the fishing report published early enough before blast off so everybody can get an update. Although I'm sure whenever we record it, probably be a pretty good chance for change with the weather system rolling through. So
that's pretty much how it works. You can. We try to keep it. This is what I did Saturday. You guys are going to have to figure it out for yourselves for next week.
Yeah. So I'm sure stuff will be changing fairly dynamically this week.
That's why it's a fishing report and not a fishing prediction.
There you go. I'm just glad it's tonight and Tuesday, and it gives about 3 days for the water to settle down a little bit.
I hear it's going to be a little bit cooler, so that could play a
That'd be
factor
nice,
into it too.
That's right.
In the mornings, at least.
Hey, I know a lot of folks are looking forward to fall. I had a bunch of leaves on my truck when I walked out this morning. I'm not ready for summer to end, but again, can't believe it's Labor Day already. So,
I have one little thing, if you don't mind me
yeah,
saying.
man.
Absolutely.
So if you want to come by water, you're more than welcome to do that. There'll be somebody at the pier right in front of the bait shop, so you can actually sign up at the water, or just you need to check in. Again, when you get there at Coosa Landing, make sure you get out of your truck, go check in under Broad Street Bridge. There'll be a bunch of tables set up over there. They will have 5 or 6 people doing traffic, kind of showing you where to go, and we'll blast off at Safe Light, which looks out like a little before 6 a.m. Weigh-in start at 3, and it'll be on your boat number when your weigh-in it would be.
Do you have any idea what the registrations are currently like?
I don't. Teresa Taylor, who's wonderful, she was one of the co-founders, and my wife kind of take care of all that. And I'm
You're busy doing the doctoring stuff,
that kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
I talked to Mrs. Pirani the other day. So when I sent in my entry form and paid my entries,
you did the right thing. I've noticed that people walk right by me to her usually. So she takes care. She does the work. You know how it is. There's always the front man, and there's people who do the work. Yeah.
Well, I mean, somebody's got to get up there and talk to the young men about their testicles.
There you
so
go.
That takes a special person. So.
well, you know what they say: behind every great man, there's a wonderful woman.
Yes.
There's the other saying: behind every angry woman, there's a man that doesn't know what he did wrong. So
There you go.
we are keeping a little clueless.
I have a feeling there are a lot of anglers that they know what they're doing wrong, but they choose to ignore it out on the water fishing. So,
Is that how it's supposed to work? Is that what I'm doing wrong?
I
don't go fishing enough. Okay.
Yeah, that's well, I mean, that's what I'm implying. The wife's like, get out of the house and go fishing. So, no, it's
unless you're married to an Italian woman.
Well, I am not, so
I
don't have that problem.
Go to work.
There you go.
All right. Well, Dr. Pirani, thank you so much for coming in.
Sure,
and thanks for supporting and all the work that you do in our community. It's pretty awesome. And it's awesome to see our community jump in and support community run events. I think I personally would definitely say this last 10 months, this last year, we've learned in our community exactly how good people are around here. The fishing community is incredible. Fun to see that growing here on Neely Henry. And so we'll look forward to seeing how things go on Saturday. So what you got any ideas on what techniques you're going to start with? You got a game plan?
There'll be a flipping rod involved, I'm sure. And coming from the West Coast, there'll be a shaky head rod involved too.
Yes.
I might have a swim bait tied on.
Got the Falcon all ready to go?
No, it's not. It's a mess after 2 days of flailing around, churning water into froth to get a few bites. What I will say, guys, is this is a tournament by all means. It's a competition, but have fun with this. It is about the tournament, and everybody wants to go out there and do really well, but just don't forget what this is about. It wouldn't hurt anybody's feelings to see some of those winnings get donated back either. So, I fish a lot of these things because I work in fishing, but I fish for the fun of doing it. Do I like to be competitive? Yeah, I played sports all the way up through college. These kinds of things, I show up on the day of the tournament just hoping to have a good time. And I hope everybody keeps that same look at it, because it's about those they're ministries to you.
Yeah.
So it's about that. Just have fun. Be patient with everybody in the mornings. If it takes him a little longer because he's hearing a story, understand why.
There you go. Thank you for that. That's right. Because I will listen. I love hearing the stories.
Well, That's definitely an important part of the whole thing. So the story is to encourage people to keep supporting and keep
Another
giving.
thing just came to mind. We'll be giving out the I call them buffs or gators, whatever you want to call them, the casting for. We'll give them out again this year. If somebody feels uncomfortable that you're not covering, just pull it up and cover your face. All right. It's definitely not mandatory. Hopefully everybody's vaccinated. Different story, different day. But we will be giving those out to all the anglers.
All right. Well, thank you guys that have stayed on with us, and please share, tag a friend, find a fishing partner, and come on out Saturday and support Casting for Cancer. So, thanks again.
Good.
We're gonna get out of here, and next time we do this, we gotta have good weather and get on the water. So, all right, guys, y'all have a good evening, and we will talk to you later.